The movie I chose for my civic movie analysis project is Argo. Argo takes place in 1979 during the Carter administration and the height of the Iranian Revolution. It follows a CIA agent named Tony Mendez, who is played by Ben Affleck, as he tries to save 6 American diplomats who have been hiding out in the Canadian embassy for 80-odd days, after the U.S. embassy in Iran is taken and seized by Iranian Revolution forces. Movie aficionados and historians both agree that the movie sticks pretty close to what actually happened during the events of the Iranian Revolution, although there are still some things that are kind of like left out and or misinterpreted per se. One being that there were actually 8 Americans that left that day, 6 of the diplomats, Mendez and his partner, who really don't get mentioned in the movie. An important thing that Argo left out is the fact that Lee Schatz, a U.S. Agricultural Department employee, his office was across from the embassy, and he actually saw the embassy grounds being taken and had a bird's eye view of the violent takeover. So he knew what was at stake, but he also knew the airport well, and he didn't smoke. Something that is stated in an NPR article written about Argo and what actually happened in the movie. Although this film is an analysis about Argo and the movie accuracies to the actual events of what happened, but basically what led up to the events of Argo, the Iranian Revolution, and everything like that, which we're going to hop into right now. So before taking a look at the events of Argo and the Iranian Revolution, we gotta kind of establish the relationship that was going on with Iran and the U.S. during the time before this. When President Jimmy Carter took office in 1977, he inherited a unique relationship with Iran's ruler, Mohammad Pahlavi, and that interaction actually first started during a U.S.-British covert operation in 1953 to remove the Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, and return the Shah to the throne. 8 years before Carter's presidency, President Richard Nixon and his foreign policy advisor, Henry Kissinger, had created a unique and unprecedented relationship with the Iranian ruler, as a part of the dubbed Twin Pillar policy, which was identified as a primary guardianship of U.S. interests in the Persian Gulf, Saudi Arabia being the other pillar. In return, the Shah was permitted to purchase whatever non-nuclear U.S. military technology he wished. After these trade deals were made, the oil prices exploding preceding those 4 years gave the Shah a windfall of revenues. He used the money to fund massive economic and military buildups, and used tens of thousands of U.S. technicians to install and maintain an enormous arsenal to train Iranians how to use it. Although after these trade deals were made, the years following, oil prices declined. Iran was hugely overextended, and the disaffection with the Shah's rule, which had been simmering for years, burst into the open. During the first 2 years of Carter's administration, though, Iran went through societal transformation that steadily gathered momentum. Shah's own forces were constantly surprised by the speed of the events, and the Shah could not maintain control. Opposition forces led from abroad took over the streets of Tehran in December of 1978, and the Shah left the country the following month. Leader of the revolutionary forces, Ayatollah Khomeini, returned to Tehran on February 1st, 1979, and 10 later the monarchy fell, which was replaced by the Islamic Revolutionary Government. This was the first time between the United States and radical political Islam. This would set the tone for future dealings with Iran and other Islamic states. The United States attempted to develop a working relationship, although it was to no avail. Carter reluctantly permitted the Shah, who was desperately ill with lymphoma in October of 1979, to enter the United States for medical treatment. This triggered a violent reaction in Tehran, and mobs of students invaded the U.S. Embassy on November 4th. They took the occupants as prisoner and demanded the return of the Shah and his financial assets to Iran. Khomeini threw his support behind the students, and the Buzargan government was dismissed, thus beginning a 440-day siege, usually referred to as the hostage crisis, which set in motion the plan for Argo. So looking at the CIA's affiliation and playing events with Argo and everything during the Iranian Revolution, there was a lot of things that in the movie kind of stuck out to me as an overall whole. The aspect of communication within the overall CIA and upper governments, or like upper level of governments. So throughout the movie, they reference Argo as the best worst case decision, because the other option was having them travel 300 miles on a bike dressed as teachers who had come through and were teaching English to Iranian students. The one thing that they joke about is, what if they actually get flat tires? You know, what if something else happens? What if they're stopped at the border and there's really nobody there to help them? They're just basically on their own. They're by themselves, which puts in the plan for Argo and the aspect of smuggling them out under 6 identities that have curated to what they were doing during their time at the embassy. Yeah, so you're a writer. Well, now you're a movie writer. You're, you know, the head of your actual department. Well, now you're the producer of a movie. One thing that I thought was kind of strange throughout the whole event of Argo, and while I was watching the movie and everything like that, was the lack of communication with like higher forms of legislation, and the fact that they only spoke to like the Speaker of the House once during the entire movie, and that was towards the end when they were canceling the idea and they were leaving these people stranded and basically for dead in the middle of Iran. Which I guess from like a movie point of view, you know, you won't really see that, and you won't really see the full aspect of what's going on and the behind the scenes, because, you know, it's Hollywood. They only have a certain amount of time for the movie. Not many people are going to sit through and watch all the boring stuff happen. Although it just seemed like it took out those aspects and parts of the movie that made it more historically accurate and more real. The one thing that I do like with the aspect of Hollywood in the movie, though, is that they use John Chambers, a veteran makeup artist in Hollywood, to set up a functioning office outside of Sunset Gower Studios on Sunset Boulevard. But in the movie, it's named Studio 6 Productions. And how they basically just went through the whole operation of making like fake cards, doing the fake showing, like the fake read through in the movie, and just all of these other things that helped create the overall cover identity for these people coming out of Iran. Because mainly in a way, it seems like in the movie, it seems they only have a week. So a week to fly to LA, get all of these fake cards made, get the fake casting, the fake reading, and the party all done, just seems like a lot within one amount of time. And especially the fact that there were so many variables that could have happened as an overall whole within the movie and within the operation itself. With that being said, I just think as an overall review and basis for the movie and how the operation played out, that there could have been a lot more communication involved with the CIA and the upper parts of government. I know towards the end of the movie, the flight tickets are almost canceled because the Speaker of the House basically is worried that they're going to get caught in the middle of the airport, and it's going to cause this international epidemic, being that, oh wow, the America's going to get made fun of because they're doing this make-believe movie, and this is the best thing that they can come up with to get these people out. As an overall whole, though, I think the movie does a great job with kind of hitting the capstones of what happened in the events of Argo and everything that's taken place. You really get the suspense aspect of what it was like to be there and what it was like to be those people in that situation, because it is a life or death situation in that aspect. You mean, you're putting your lives into somebody that you don't really know, who's going to give you this fake alias and kind of be like, just take my hand and I'm going to get you out of here. I think that the government probably could have had more communication, and during the time of them scrambling with like the first 80 days, they probably could have came up with a better plan, although there was a lot going on during that time with presidential elections, new presidencies, all these other things too. Even still, I think Argo and the producers of Argo do a great job in portraying the aspect of CIA history and a part of U.S. history that's having to do with foreign policies and foreign affairs. I would totally recommend this to another government student who's doing a civic movie analysis project, and I'm just thankful for the opportunity that I actually got to do this and look into this aspect of history. All my sources will be right after this little excerpt in a small little display panel, and I'll also put them in the link in the description below, so you kind of know where I got this information from and how all of it played out to make this video. So thank you very much, and have a good rest of your day.